A couple of days ago, I went out the front door of our house, intending to get the mail from the mailbox at the end of the driveway. The Georgia sun was blazing that day, shining brilliantly from the sky, and as I walked down the driveway, I came alongside our white truck, which was parked there. Well, I must have gotten at just the right angle because suddenly my eyes were pierced by a white glare that was just blinding. Everything around me disappeared. It was astonishing how powerful and even painful that glare was, and how it could completely hide what I knew was at arm's length, but I couldn't see it. I think something like that can happen to us in our home schools. It doesn't have anything to do with getting the mail or white trucks. It has to do with the glare of perfection. Let me explain. Welcome to the Simply Charlotte Mason podcast. I'm Sonia Schaefer. Perfection can be a difficult concept to live with, but my experience with that glare off the truck opened my eyes, as it were, to a new way of looking at it. And here's the idea. Perfection is like the sun. It shines brightly, which is good if we allow its light to show us the direction we should head and to fuel our growth in that direction. But if we fix our eyes directly on it, the glare will blind us to seeing the beautiful growth that is happening all around us. Now let's unpack that idea a little more. Like the sun, perfection lights the path and shows us the direction in which we should head. Our aim is excellence, not mediocrity. What kind of education would we be giving our children if we aimed for slipshod habits and half-hearted efforts? We aren't trying to cultivate laziness or an attitude of, well, I don't care, it doesn't matter, I'll do just enough to get by, and only when the teacher's looking. Of course not. Nobody says, we're aiming for carelessness, that's the direction we want to go, or the direction of our hearts is inaccuracy. No, we're aiming toward accuracy. That's the direction toward which we want to train our hearts and minds. We want to cultivate a habit of thinking in that direction, of doing our best or doing what is right and correct. Now, think for a moment. Are we aiming for 70% accuracy? What about 60% kindness or 80% obedience? Is it the desire of our hearts to attain 50% faithfulness in doing chores? No, we're aiming toward 100%. And 100% is perfection. That's the direction in which we have set our hearts and minds. We're heading in the direction of perfection. To do otherwise would be a disservice to our children. But perfection is not the goal of education. It is simply the direction in which we are heading. The goal of education is growth in that direction. And because that is the direction toward which we are aiming, we will never stagnate in our growth. We will always have new challenges to tackle, new lessons to learn, new progress to celebrate. There's a lot of talk today about a growth mindset as opposed to a static mindset. Growth is something to aspire to. A person with a mindset that says, I can learn more in this area, I can get better at this, will continue to reach new heights in character and skills and relationships. So in that way, heading toward perfection is a wonderful path, for we will always have room for growth. We will have continual motivation to keep trying and thus growing. We won't stagnate and become stunted as we would if we were aiming in the direction of mediocrity or a life of ease. So we head in the direction of perfection, not for the sake of achieving it and saying, we're done, that's it, no more, but for the sake of keeping our hearts and our children's hearts open to lifelong growth, to recognizing the beauty in the incremental steps along the way. The idea of perfection shows us the direction to head, and it fuels our growth. That's our mindset and direction. But perfection is not the goal of education. Growth is the goal. So that's where we should fix our gaze, on the growth that is happening as we head in the direction of excellence or perfection. If we shift our focus and fixate on the perfection, that glare is going to quickly blind us, and we will fail to see the beautiful incremental growth on the path. And that's when it's easy to become discouraged. Have you ever done the science experiment with the bean seed in the cardboard box? You set the box on end, and you create a little maze inside it. And then you cut a hole at the top end, and you plant a bean seed inside at the bottom end. Close the box and check on it every day. It's so much fun to watch that little seed begin to sprout and inch by inch climb its way toward the light, navigating the little crooks and crannies of the maze till finally the plant pops out the top hole. That bean seed was aiming toward the sun. That's the direction it was trained to grow. In the same way, our hearts and minds should be trained to aim toward excellence, toward perfection. That's the direction we are to grow. And just as with the bean plant, we find excitement and joy in watching that inch-by-inch growth, the incremental progress. We don't scold the plant or despise it because it hasn't somehow, like Jack's magic beanstalk, suddenly reached to the clouds overnight. No, we look for growth in the right direction and we celebrate it. So don't be afraid of perfection. Let it shine like the sun. Let it provide light to show you the direction to head. Let it fuel a continual growth mindset. But keep in mind that it's never good to look directly at the sun. Don't fix your gaze on perfection, for its glare can blind you to the beautiful growth that's happening all around you. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.